A very good evening to you and welcome to Correro, your trusted space for deep political and national conversations. I am Godwin Sunday. Well, across Nigeria today, agriculture remains the backbone for millions of households, yet one silent threat continues to undermine our farmers, our food supply and our national economy. That threat is the growing infiltration of counterfeit agricultural products, especially fake crop protections chemicals. Well, every planting season, farmers invest their limited resources to pesticides, herbicides, and fertilizers, hoping to increase yield and secure income. But many often end up with counterfeit products that damage their crops, degrade their soil, and in some cases pose serious risk to human health. According to recent field report from regulatory agencies and industry groups, over 40% of crops protection products circulating in markets across West Africa may be substandard or fake. Now, shocking as that seems, with Nigeria being one of the most affected markets, this is not just an agricultural problem, it is a national security issue, a public health challenge, and an economic threat. Poor yields lead to food scarcity, rising prices, and reduced farmers' confidence. Counterfeit products and counterfeit profits, legitimate businesses suffer, and the nation's food security objectives are put off the risk. Government agencies like NAFDAC and the Ministry of Agriculture have intensified crackdown, raiding warehouses, arresting distributors, and introducing digital verification platforms. But despite these efforts, the counterfeit market continues to evolve from repackaged chemicals to fake labeling and sophisticated adulteration of that even experienced farmers struggle to dictate. Well, tonight on Correro, we examine how Nigeria can strengthen its fight against counterfeit agricultural products, what gaps exist in the regulation, enforcement, and farmers' education, and how can stakeholders collaborate to protect our food system and restore trust in the agricultural input. Joining me tonight is to shed light on these critical issues Dr. Abdullahi A. Ndarubu, Secretary of CropLife Nigeria, and an organization at the forefront of promoting safe and authentic crop protection solution across the country. Well, at this point, let me officially welcome you, Dr. Abdullahi, to Correro. You're welcome. It's a delight to have you.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be at Rapid Television today to talk about the agriculture and the agrochemical industry.
All right. So, Dr. Abdullahi, let's begin the conversation by first, how true and how correct is it that to say that we have more counterfeit products in the market right now than where we were coming from?
Thank you very much. Yeah, the issue of counterfeit crop protection products in Nigeria is an unfortunate situation, and of course it's basically a malpractice by some unscrupulous elements in our society. You have people that are criminally minded in every society, and they have come, of course, to realize that, yes, farming today is done with the use of a lot of these agrochemicals. And so in the rural areas, agrochemical products symbolizes money. So what people do is that, oh, okay, since people buy this thing, why don't I create fake and counterfeit of it and go into the rural areas where there may be enforcement of regulations are not very stiff, and then they make farmers, innocent farmers, to part with their money to buy this thing, only for them to realize after application that they are not getting the desired results. And that's only when they may, in some cases, come back to report to maybe any authority that is close to them. But you know, a majority of the farmers may not even have that capacity and access to make a report on it.
All right, so Dr. Abdullah, at this point,
Yeah.
are the security and regulatory agencies doing enough to address this rising menace of fake and counterfeit agricultural products in the market, in your own assessment?
Yes, we said there's room for improvement, but the industry is a highly regulated one, and with a share of responsibilities. NAFDAC, for one, is under the law, has the acts, you know, to regulate everything that has to do with food, drugs, and chemicals, for now, including the agrochemicals. But of course, you know, there are issues of standards in this country, and we have an agency too that is charged with the responsibility of setting standards, which is the Standard Organization of Nigeria. And agrochemicals being basically used in the agricultural farming systems. The Federal Minister of Agriculture and Food Security also have some oversight function on the regulation of this material because they are being used in the farming system. So expectedly, we expect that all these agencies will join hands in a very collaborative manner to help check genuine access to genuine product, and then for all this genuine product to also be used according to label instruction. And then some other agencies, you know, taking up enforcement strategies to curb the infiltration of cross-border unregistered products, and then even, you know, taking action to arrest elements, people, players within our own market value chain that try to create fake of this product and sell in the village open markets. So they are doing their best, but there is still room for improvement.
All right, there's room for improvement. I can't agree less on that. But then, let's talk about Nigeria's position in the global food supply chain.
Yeah.
Understand also that statistics have shown that we are far from the conversation around the maximum residual limits right now. We're far from having those conversations.
Yeah.
But then on the international global food and products chain, where are we agriculture-wise?
Well, the issue of maximum residue limits is, of course, a very great and concern to us in the industry. It's not a national thing alone. It's an international regulation. And but before we talk on where Nigeria is as relates to maximum residue limit, we have to understand what that means. When crop protection products are used, they are mostly applied on the field, and some limited ones used after harvest, that's at post-harvest, in fumigating the warehouses and other things. And in the formal operation of either applying this thing on the field or using materials to fumigate the store, this leaves some residue. And these residues, of course, if the label instruction is followed, there are waiting intervals where, okay, you have applied this chemical, maybe to kill weeds before planting, or you are planted and there are insect pests on your crop, and you apply insecticide. There are recommended stages for application of each of these type of products. And when you apply, there are intervals that you are supposed to observe before you go in to harvest the crop. But even if you observe those intervals, we expect that some very small traces of the applied chemical may remain either on the plant or in the produce that you have harvested. Now, internationally, on each crop, or each type of crop protection product, there are tolerance limits of what residue should be tolerated for consumption of agricultural produce or for feeding our livestock. And this is what these levels, depending on the nations, depending on the region or the continent you are talking about or country you are talking about, this maximum tolerable level are what we call maximum residue limits. Now, the international organization that is charged with setting those baseline standards for residues is the Codex Alimentarius. But other countries, depending on the sensitivity of their policies, like European Union, the United States of America, Canada, Japan, all these other, they may do their own evaluations and set standards in most cases below the baseline set by the Codex. And it's not only in crop protection products. I think even in the pharmaceutical sector, you understand, when you take a drug, it will leave some residue in your system. But the residue limits are set that it must not exceed certain level, because once it exceeds those levels, it starts causing concerns on health. Some organs may show sensitivity, and you start experiencing symptoms of maybe chemical poisoning. That is the essence of, relating with maximum residue limits. That's the general factor. Now, considering an emerging economy like Nigeria, we take bearing from the Codex standards. But yes, we grow most of these our agricultural materials, we consume them. We should also be concerned for food safety, because food safety is a component of food security. I'm so happy that our Federal Minister of Agriculture is now Christian Federal Minister of Agriculture and Food Security. Yeah. So food safety is a cardinal component of food security. So we have to be concerned about the safety of the foods we eat. And the food we eat comes from the farming systems. So we have to show and be involved in what happens down the stream, down to the farming level, the farm level. Now, another aspect where that makes MRLS, which is maximum residue limits, very pertinent, is that most of our agricultural produce, we target export to diversify our foreign earning. Yes, we are rich in oil, but we also wish that we should be earning, money from export of agricultural produce. And these foreign markets, what we call destination markets, have their sensitivity. So they set their own maximum residue limits for common pesticides, active ingredients that are being used world over to produce the crops that they are importing into their country. I give you an example. Cocoa is a very popular crop. Nigeria used to be #1 exporter of cocoa in the world, but one way or the other, countries like Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire have overtaken us. But Nigeria still exports cocoa. Now, if you are exporting cocoa to Europe, you are exporting cocoa to United States of America or to Canada, each of these destination markets have their standards, and you must meet their regulatory quality standard, or else if you push your material in there, it will be rejected. You will be fined. You may be charged to even destroy for the destruction of the stock. So what exporters do is that before, in planning your export, you have to make inquiry to know, okay, what are the regulatory standards in the markets you want to export to. And maximum residue limit is one of them. Presence of heavy metals in agricultural produce is also one of the factors considered as technical barrier to agricultural export. Then another one is mycotoxin contamination. Mycotoxins are secondary metabolites of microorganisms. So in your, on the field, when you are growing your crop, there are microorganisms in the soil, in the air, in the water, and they will naturally interface with your plant and whatever you harvest from that plant. And also in the store, the way we handle our storage materials in this country, lack of standardization in packaging and other things, moisture content and other things. So all these things allow some microorganisms to associate with our agricultural produce. And because these microorganisms are also living things, they secrete just the way you urinate or you go to toilet. They also secrete when they are feeding. They also release some secretions. And certain micro secretion of some microorganisms are naturally very toxic. Those are what we put together and call mycotoxin. So when you are exporting any agricultural produce, on arrival, samples will be drawn for test of contamination with heavy metals, contamination with mycotoxins, and contamination with pesticide residues.
All right, Dr. Abdullahi, before we even get deeper into the biological terms, let's come back to talk from the surface. Have it on good record that a lot of Nigerians' crops and products right now are being rejected in other countries. Some countries even tag some of Nigerian produce, which we have some of the finest food crops across the world. But right now, a lot of countries in Europe reject Nigerian food crops on some of the grounds that you've mentioned. Back home to us in Nigeria, let's talk about us at home. How safe are our crops, especially for consumption here in Nigeria, if the international community is rejecting food crops from Nigeria? How safe are these crops?
Thank you very much. I want to categorically state that our crops do not grow with all these contaminants. These contaminants come in by way of our own conduct, by way of the technologies we deploy and how we deploy them. You understand? For instance, herbicides, like I stated earlier, they are made to kill weeds, and most of these weeds are killed even before you apply the herbicide to kill weeds, even before you plant. You have not even planted the crop. And if you apply these herbicides according to the label instruction, the manufacturer of the product will tell you the stage to apply it, the quantity to be applied, and how long you should wait after application before you do another thing. But what are we having? Abuse. Somebody will decide to go and do something else without following instruction. We hear of cases of people taking agrochemical in this country to commit suicide. Is that what the product, the manufacturer of the product, is that the purpose for which he made it? No. So what we have, my brother, that is leading to all these issues is gross misuse. We have crop protection pesticides that are classified for feed application to control weeds, to control insects, pests on the crop. But knowing fully well that after these crops have been harvested, taken to the store, there are some insects that also still affect this stock of materials in the store. We have another class of pesticides that we call fumigants that you can use to fumigate your store. But instead, what our aggregators and grain merchants do is that they will bulk their grains and go and bring insecticides that are made for feed application, and we directly pour this chemical with the grain and mix it because they want to prevent any pest damage. They are averse to risk of losing their stock to store pests. We have instances where people will make a solution of some of these pesticides. People selling fish in the market, they will use Dunlop, dip it, and then rub it on the dry fish so that flies will not come near it. My brother, I'm asking you, the manufacturer of that product, is that the instruction he gave? Is that the way he said his product should be used? No. And if it is so abused, there's no way you analyze that sample drawn from such fish or such grain, take it to the lab, analyze it, that you will not see heavy presence of the pesticide that was abused. These are the sources of the pesticide residue. But if products are used according to label instruction, you can be rest assured that you have harvest that will be free of any form of contamination.
Well, Alhaji, sorry, Dr. Abdullah, I beg your pardon. Let's talk in terms of the awareness, yeah, and in terms of orientation. Yeah. Of course, you've said that a lot of Nigerians tend to want to exploit the system, and also a lot of persons are not even informed because they don't read through the content of the product, so yeah, they tend to abuse. Yeah. Like a wise man would say that once the purpose of a thing is not known, abuse is definitely inevitable. Yeah. But then, as a country, yeah, you are within the agricultural value chain. Yeah. In your own observation, are we doing enough to address orientation of farmers? Are we doing enough to address the issue of reorientating even school children, yeah, in how to use most of this herbicide and pesticides? Are we doing enough in this regards?
Thank you very much. Well, the issue of awareness creation and advocacy is not indeterminate. What I mean by that is that it can never be enough. It can never be one-off. It has to be a continuous engagement. And but I want to correct one impression, and that impression is that the farmers we have in the country, they are illiterate, they are not learned, they don't know how to relate with some of this information or these technologies. No, there is great awareness today. I'm telling you, the rural population knows much more about crop protection products than the pharmaceutical products. I'm telling you. They are aware, but there must be that continuous engagement. And of course, just to cite an example of our efforts for you, at CropLife Nigeria, we have a kind of joint technical committee with NAFDAC, which is the regulatory agency that supervise registration, that regulate registration and deployment of crop protection products in Nigeria. We have a joint technical committee that train agro dealers. Agro dealers are the people that buy these crop protection products from major agrochemical companies in the country and take it down the value chain until it reaches the smallholder farmer. So, and with the poor action from the extension system, agricultural extension system in Nigeria today, these agro dealers serve like our mediator between we, the manufacturers, and the importers, with the farmer. They come to us, buy these products, and then take it to the village stockist. But give them enough information. And a lot of farmers also come to their shops. So when the farmer comes, we have trained these agro dealers to ask questions. What type of pest do you want to control? In what crop? And at what stage? So the agro dealer is now technically trained to give recommendation to the farmer on the appropriateness of which crop protection product to select and how to also apply it and how to safeguard himself, who is going to use the product, and his environment. So the DG NAFDAC is the one leading that awareness creation all over the country, and it is yielding results because it helps us to also generate data on the location of some of these agrochemical dealers in the country. They also have their own association called National Agro-Input Dealers Association, NAIDA, of Nigeria. And whatever advocacy or awareness creation workshop we are holding, they are always invited. I'm in Abuja today. We came in from Lagos yesterday for a workshop that is focusing on counterfeit product and the issue of maximum residue limits, and all the stakeholders are being pulled together at an hotel, and we talk about it, we educate ourselves, and then we share experiences that we forge, strategies which can be executed to curb, excesses of fake and adulterated products in the markets, and also to educate on how best to apply these crop protection products to minimize residues in our crops.
All right, so Dr. Abdullahi, there's quite a lot of things I want us to talk about, especially within the fight against crop protection.
Yeah.
Looking at all the fights and the initiatives that have been put in place, the policies, programs by the government have been put in place from time immemorial. Yeah. I would have even loved us to assess all of those, the impact of all of this government plans, government initiatives in order to address this concern. But I've been signaled right now that our time is fast spent. I want to say at this point, thank you so much, Dr. Abdullahi Ndarubu, for finding our time to be with us. Secretary, Crop Life Nigeria, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and I'm glad that you invited us, and you are also a stakeholder in this. You have eaten today, right? And I'm sure the food was grown by Nigerian farmers. So give us additional opportunities like this to help say one or two things about how our best practices to adopt in our agricultural value chain. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much once again, Dr. Abdullahi. Well, viewers, this is how far we can go on Corero. Don't forget that you can follow the conversation on all our various social media platforms currently showing on your screen. And you can also download the Rapid TV app from your Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. My name is Godwin Sunday. Always remember that peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Do enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye for now.